7 things your BJJ, grappling, and MMA instructor should not be doing. Number 1, rolling or sparring all the time. So students need observation. If your coach or professor is training all the time, it means he's not observing you training. So this is a mistake that a lot of competitors fall into because they're trying to prepare themselves for competition and get themselves into shape. Number 2 is not rolling at all. So, like we said, we don't want our instructors to roll all the time, but we do want them to roll. Unless they are very old or injured, then they are excused. But if your instructor is young and has no serious injuries, he should be demonstrating some certain level of fluidity and fluency. Otherwise, there's a big question mark around any instructor that doesn't roll or has selective rolls. Number 3 is inconsistent answers. So inconsistent answer can be about technique or credentials. So if we're asking about technique and the coach gives me an answer and gives my teammate a contrary answer, it means that there is some inconsistency, especially if that inconsistency happened with a short time frame, because over time, even coaches develop themselves, they improve their knowledge. However, if it happens within a short time span, then that's a big question mark, as well as credentials. If your coach gives you a different story about his background or his credentials, and the next week he says something else, then that's another question mark around the same instructor. Number 4 is lack of organization skills. What do I mean this? Lack of organizational skills in teaching technique, because grappling, BJJ, and MMA are very dense subjects. And there is a lot of technique out there. So you need to structure it in a way that people can learn certain aspects in a short time frame. So, for example, if we were to work 1 week on something, we should work on a specific topic such as half guard or takedowns, etc. Even takedowns can be dissected into different segments. But if your coach is giving you, for example, butterfly guard today and rear naked choke tomorrow, and then leg locks the day after, and then takedowns the day after, and you feel that there is no structure in the way that you're learning, that's not a sign of a good coach. Sometimes the coach can be able to break his program even if he's following a certain curriculum. I've done it a few times when I see a student or a few students developing a bad habit, then I know that I need to stop and go and dissect that problem. However, most of the time, things need to be structured. Number 5 is impatience. And one of the main attributes of a coach is to be patient, because new students are not going to learn things on first take. Even experienced students, when they're being taught a new subject, something that they haven't seen before, it will take time for them to process that, and they will probably get it wrong the first few times. So the coach needs to be very patient in the sense that he's not just teaching the technique, but he's going over and correcting again and again until his student is implementing it correctly. Number 6 is miscommunication. So coaches need to be very clear when communicating with their students. You need to have a coach that is also teaching you terminology. Why terminology is important? Because if I tell you hip escape, and instead of doing a hip escape, you do a technical stand-up, then there's a problem. So students and coaches need to have one language. Like in the sense of in the example I just explained, that you're on the same page when it comes to terminology. When he says something, you understand exactly what he's trying to say. Number 7 is something that even world champions and very, very knowledgeable instructors fall a victim of, which is imbalancing between sparring and learning. So some coaches come from a tough background, from a tough gym where they had to smash out like 20 rounds each day, 10 in the morning, 10 in the evening, and they're trying to force their students to do the same thing. And some are the opposite. Some are very knowledgeable, and he has all this knowledge, and he wants to share his warm guard skills, he wants to share his butterfly, his half, his deep half, and everything, and he's trying to throw all his knowledge at his students. Well, people have learning capacity. He cannot learn more than 3 or 4 techniques in one day, sometimes even less, So seminars are an exception, but on daily basis, you should be learning 3 to 4 techniques maximum, and should be focusing on getting them implemented correctly. So at the end of the week, you should feel like that you have learned and have gotten quality rounds and gotten sparring time. If you're just doing sparring without learning, that's not being very efficient. And if you're doing a technique without sparring, then that's as well not being very efficient. Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments what do you want to see more of. Thank you.